Hello everyone, it's Tom here, and I thought to celebrate the release of my new song, I would show you guys a bit of behind the scenes footage of how I created it. I've not done anything like this before, but I thought sometimes promotion can get a bit, samey and boring over time, and I thought this would be quite an interesting way of promoting the song. But it also gives you guys a bit more of an inside view on how I create them and all the parts in the background, what you may not necessarily hear, but they all contribute to the overall sound. So I personally use Ableton Live as my software of choice, and I'll show you guys some of the equipment what I use, and yeah, it should be fun. I'm not going to necessarily dive into how I mixed everything and certain plugins what I use on certain instruments. I'll probably do that in a separate video. This is more just going to be showing you guys the stuff what goes into the song and all the individual parts what I've played, because it's all played by me. And this song has 31 tracks, so we might as well start from the top. So I usually start off with drums in my songs. It's good to get rhythm down first, and these drums, they sound like an acoustic drum kit, even though I'm not going to lie, I didn't actually play them. I do have drums over there, but when it comes to timing on drums, I'm not the best at it, so it's easier for me personally just to program drums in. So if I solo these, they sound like real drums, but when you listen to the song, they are programmed in. So I have played them, I've told, I've put in them things what to play, but I think they sound pretty good though. So this is verse 1. Standard sort of drum beat. I did originally, when I first started this song, it was a bit more crazy in the verse, but I thought it kind of took away from the main element of the song, and that's one thing with production and songs, you don't want something to take over the main part. I mean, drums are sort of there to keep the rhythm going. They're not necessarily a full star of the show. I mean, when it comes to this song, they're definitely not. And going into the pre-chorus goes into like a foot to the floor kick drum, just like this, with guitars going. And then as it gets to the second half, the pre-chorus hi-hat comes in, just like that. Pretty cool. And then, boom, then the chorus will start. So as you can hear, it's like a little build up, and a dun 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 dun, and then chorus coming. So here's the chorus drum beat. A bit more open now. Some drum fills. So as you can hear, nothing complicated at all when it comes to this. I mean, my drums and all of my songs aren't typically that complicated. We've also got some tambourine going in the background, like that. It's panned over to the right, a bit more quiet, but it's just there. They sound really nice. I think it's always cool to add in a tambourine or a shaker into your songs. And as we go into verse 2, the first half of verse 2, which typically a lot of my more recent songs have been doing, is just like a kick drum again. Like that, obviously nothing too complicated at all. And then in the second half of verse 2, this is the original drum beat, what I did have in verse 1. But I thought verse 2, the song's starting to pick up a bit more, the drums should get a bit more heavier. So this is the second half, verse 2 drum beat. As you can hear, the hi-hats are a lot more present. Now, you musicians out there will know that if you were actually playing these drums, that would be a very hard beat to play with those kicks. But I think the general public maybe wouldn't hear that or think that, so I think I can kind of get away with it. Musicians, they'll probably know, right, they've been programmed in, but I think they sound really cool personally. And that's that pretty much. Then the rest of the song is just the pre-chorus beat again, and the chorus and the bridge is the same. So that's pretty much as far as it goes with drums. As I said, my drums are never that complicated in my songs. Now we have strummed guitars, which are the present guitars which go through the whole song. And I've played all these with my acoustic guitar. I've got one in the centre and one pan to the left and one pan to the right, so you get like a nice wide sound. It's a pretty standard thing to do. And I've got some picked acoustic guitars which come in right now. Make it sound really nice. And again, they're all pans. So as you can hear, in the verses, the guitar is quite, staccato. It's like sort of palm muted, quite quickly strung. And that's same in the pre-chorus, but then when we get to the chorus, the main one, I really open it up. More strumming. And then underneath that, we've got some bass guitar. Pretty standard bass, nothing crazy going on so far. And that's pretty much, that is like, in terms of guitars, acoustic guitars, that's what we've got going on. Again, it's all simple, Songs don't have to be complicated at all to sound good. Here you've got an electric guitar, which is just going through some amplifiers what I've got, and it's just like a little lead part in the background. It's clean, it's got some delay on it, and it's just little things like that what really add to songs. Like, that's why I wanted to show you guys all this, because it's in the background there when the whole mix is playing. It's like, you can hear it, but it's not, you're not going to focus on it. But all these little things are what makes the song what it is. We've got some fingerstyle electric guitar. It's got a nice amount of reverb on it, which really got some nice ambience. And ambience in general really thickens up your song. Like, if you ever sort of think to yourself, oh, it's a bit thin, just add in some reverb with like, a 5-second decay time on it, and it's really going to make the song sound nice. And we've got some electric guitar here again, which is panned all the way to the right, and that's just like a little rundown. Again, you can barely hear that in the song, but it's just there. And then distorted guitar, which is like distorted power chords. Typically with all my songs I have distorted power chords in the chorus. I know on the face of things my songs don't sound that rocky, but they do always have distorted electric guitars in them. Again, very simple. And all together, that's what the electric guitars. It's got a really nice sort of, I'm going to bring this closer, a really nice ambient sound. And also, when we go into the bridge, we have another electric guitar which is pans to the right again, and that's just an octave chord, which sounds like this. That's just in the bridge. And if you listen closely in your right ear headphones, if that's what you're using, you'll be able to hear that. And then in all the other choruses, that is not present, but for the final chorus, I added it in. Basically, the final chorus, you want it to be like the big send-off. So I thought, have that little extra thing in there, what isn't in any of the other choruses, and it'll just give it that 10% more, which is what you want. And now we get to some MIDI things that I've played. So when it comes to all these like software instruments to play in, I use my Arturia Minilab 3, which I have here. It's a really good keyboard. And literally, it's just some like synth things, really. So it sounds like this. Just like that, which sounds really nice in the verses. And that's it, it's just played with these. Again, you can kind of hear that as well. And then this keyboard has a really cool feature where it has an arpeggiator built into it. So Ableton does have arpeggiators, but it's easy just to do it on here because I can set the BPM for the settings, and it's really easy. And I literally just selected like a bell sound, so it's like a bells arpeggiated, just like this. Quite a weird sound, but I think it's cool to have unique sounds in songs because that's what makes them interesting. You can't really hear that when everything's going, but at the second chorus, as everything fades down to go into the quiet chorus, or coming out the bridge, sorry, everything fades down. Into the quiet chorus part, you can hear it at the end, and you can hear some little bells going on, and people hear that and think, oh, what's that? And that's the sort of thing that gets people intrigued. Now we come down to vocals, which I really like recording vocals. In a separate video, if I do one about how I mix and produce it all, I'll go over my vocal chain, what I use. And to record my vocals, I use this, a Short SM7B. It's very new actually. I got this probably about a month or so ago now, and it's really nice. I highly recommend for vocals, recording, really good. For anything really, you know, it's a very popular podcast microphone, so I'd highly recommend, and a lot of well-known artists use it, and it will make your vocals sound really good. So in terms of all my vocal solos, I put them in a group. That's a good tip, that put all your, if you ever have a set of tracks what are sort of all fit together, put them in a group. So I put all my vocals in one group, so it's just all in one place. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9 or 10 vocal tracks here. That may sound like quite a lot. I've got my lead vocal, and then I've got 2 backing vocal ones. So in the chorus, in verse 2, sorry, you'll be able to hear some like talk back vocals or something. They're like what they call like call and response vocals. It has like a telephone effect on it, and they sound really cool. Typically these are the sort of things what you put in the verse 2s, but they just sound like this. That little thing you hear there. And then here I've got them going from left to right, which is a really cool effect. Ways that still not ways. There you go. They're just like really cool effects to add in. If you're wondering how I got them to have that weird sound, I literally just go onto EQ8 and use the telephone vocal preset, and that's how you get that sound. So I've got a lead vox, as I said, and you've got those two. And then I've got a low vocal, like a speaking vocal. I always add one, a lemon. And then I've got 2 sang vocals, 1 pan to the left and 1 pan to the right. And then I've got 3 harmonies. And good tip for harmonies, if you struggle doing harmonies, or if you struggle to like get them to sound good, with Ableton has a thing called auto shift down here, and it's got a thing called scale degrees. It will say shift and then it has SD next to it. That stands for scale degrees. And for harmonies, you can literally sing normally, and then if you put auto shift onto your vocal chain and then shift it up 2 scale degrees, you'll then get harmonies in your right key. As long as you set it to the right key, obviously, it will then pitch your voice up to do the correct harmonies. And then for harmony 2s, I put that up to 4 scale degrees, and then for the 3rd harmony, I put it up to 7. And that's going to get you a really nice harmony sound. If you like solo the harmonies, they don't sound maybe quite as good as if you actually sang them, but in the mix as a whole, they sound really good. And it's just a way of getting around having to actually sing harmonies if that's something you struggle with. So I've got them in here. So all together, my vocals sound like this. I'll play the chorus for you. So we must not go down these paths that lead us to the dark, 'cause if you do remember, you will just gain a broken heart. There you go, they sound really nice. The microphone is really amazing. You can hear the harmonies are there in the back, you can hear the low vox, you can hear the lead vox. When I say vox, I mean vocals, by the way. And that's because I've got them labelled like that, so that's just how I say them. But in the bridge, we've got some falsetto, which sounds really nice soloed. You're almost home. Yeah, really nice. So that's pretty much it for vocals. One other thing, in the verses, I only have my lead vocal, which is just in the centre, so it's just 1. And same in the pre-choruses, but as soon as we get to the chorus, I then have all my vocals come in, and because they're panned, it sounds wide. So if you're listening through headphones, the listener will get like a more wider experience, so they'll be spread out across, and it just sounds really nice. I don't really like vocals all to be in the centre. I feel like it's best to spread them out over the stereo field. And now we're down to some little effects. I've got like a riser going into the chorus. Just like that. The only riser I've actually found on Ableton what I like is the riser, the white noise one. That's like the best one in my opinion. I've not found any others that I really like, but there you go. Now I have grand piano, which I do play some piano, play some chords. I use this keyboard down here. I'd like to get a bit of a bigger one maybe in the future. But yeah, oh sorry, my dog's barking, hold up. Sorry about that. So yeah, back to the old piano. I just played in the chords to the chorus here, which I will solo for you. I mean, in theory, I could make it in just a vocal and piano song. If I played all the vocals there with just the piano, it would sound quite nice. I really like soloing different things and hearing how the song sounds without certain tracks in there. So here's just the piano and vocals. You must not go down these paths that lead us to the dark, 'cause if you do remember you. Again, obviously the vocals are well loud, but it sounds really nice. And then I've got some strings down here, which again I used the Mini Labs arpeggiated feature, which is just some strings. There you go. Just doing that. On their own, they might sound a bit off, but in relation to the whole song, they sound really good. And then, like I showed you earlier for the percussion section, it's got a tambourine. It's just a tambourine loop which I dragged in. And that is it really for all the individual tracks. There's only 31 tracks in this song, which isn't a massive amount, but I mean, I see a lot of people saying just because you've got more tracks doesn't mean the song sounds better, and that's true. The more tracks you have, the more sort of less clear your song can sound, I found. So I try to not add anything in what I don't need. I generally feel like all these tracks are useful, they all serve a purpose. Like, there's nothing in here what isn't really doing anything. They're all contributing to the sound of the song. So I've played all the individual tracks. I will now play you a bit of the chorus. Obviously not all of it because the songs aren't out yet, but yeah, this is what the whole song sounds like altogether. So we must not go down these paths that lead us to the dark, 'cause if you do remember, you will just gain a broken heart. There you go. I think it sounds really cool. The chorus really kicks in well, and I managed to achieve this by automating a utility what I put on the master channel. So I know this is a bit of mixing here, which I will do in a separate video or production, and I automated the utility. I put a utility on the master chain and I automated the gain to go up 1.5 dB just so the chorus kicks in more. So the choruses are actually 1.5 dB louder than the verses. That actually truly makes it kick in more. And that's a tip I saw on YouTube from someone. That's not my own original idea. They said if you're struggling to get the chorus to really kick in, just put utility on the master chain and automate it to turn up 1.5 dB or however much you need. Obviously that can be troublesome when it comes to like clipping or mastering the song, because if you're turning the whole song up, you can then get clipping and stuff, and then you have to like work your way around that so you don't have that happen. But that's all mixing and production, mastering stuff. But that's pretty much it really in terms of the song. They're all the individual tracks. That's how I've made the chorus really kick in. And yeah, I really love production. It's one of my favourite things to do when it comes to music. I find there's nothing more fun than sitting down with your own song and trying to make it sound as good as you can. I'm by no means the best producer out there. I'd like to hope there's some tips on here which would help people who are, you know, maybe not quite as far through their journey. But I mean, I've only been doing this for, you know, I've been serious about production for about a year, and I've improved a lot in a year. I'm nowhere near as good as what I'd like to be, but I would say I'm you know, I'm decent enough to make a song sound good, and you know, it's a lot of work. I mean, I sit down at this computer and for quite a lot of hours to try and get it to sound good. I mean, it's just about listening to it on different speakers as well. You know, you'll play it through the studio monitors and then you'll play it through headphones and it'll sound completely different. That's the thing that I find hard, getting it to sound good across all speakers. But yeah, it's definitely a really good skill to have, because if you can produce your own stuff at home, you know, it makes your life easier because you don't have to go out anywhere and go and do it, and it's cheaper as well. Obviously, you have to have all the gear and the software, but you know, acquire that over time. So yeah, I'd like to thank you, a massive thank you for you guys for watching this. If you've got this far through the video, I don't even know how long this is so far, but the song is called Way Back Home, and by the time you're watching this, you will know about it. I will have announced it on all my social medias that it's coming out. And please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. This is the first time I've ever done like a YouTube video like this, so hopefully I'll get better over time. But yeah, I really enjoyed creating this video, and I hope you enjoy the full song when it comes out. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.